And once again, it's our pleasure to welcome Dr. Chris Smith, a virologist at the University of Cambridge, who has been sitting in for Dr. Carl and doing a manful job, asking all your very difficult questions.
Morning, Dr. Chris. What it is Yellowstone Park is a massive volcano. If that goes up, will we have the equivalent of a nuclear winter?
Hello, Steve. Yes, people are worried because these so-called supervolcanoes, in fact, what this is a giant caldera. It's a massive accumulation of the hot stuff that you find inside the Earth that powers volcanoes, very close to the surface, and which could, at a moment of weakness, be discharged, and it could unleash a huge amount of material into the atmosphere. And what people are worried about is that on the scale of this kind of volcano, you will receive enough dust and gas and other debris, not just to do very significant local damage, but also on a global scale, change the climate. Because one of the things which became apparent when people began to think about nuclear war was that if enough debris, dust and material is ejected into the atmosphere, one of the consequences of that is that it makes the atmosphere much more opaque to sunlight. And a lot more sunlight is reflected by dust particles out into space. And this can make the world colder, so you can have what's called a nuclear winter. But in the short term, it can also have an inward reflecting effect, making things a lot hotter in the short term. And what's very interesting is that everyone thinks that the end of the dinosaurs was brought about by a giant meteorite impacting on Chicxulub near Mexico. And in fact, there is very good evidence, geologically speaking, for that happening. There's also very good geological evidence for dinosaurs already being on the way out because of another phenomenon, massive volcanoes. And there are some volcanoes, in fact there's evidence for volcanoes in parts of India and Asia, which were spewing out material 3 kilometers thick prior to the time when this meteorite devastated the dinosaurs. And so what some geologists have suggested, including Janet Sumner, who's a geologist who works for the Open University, published papers showing these very dense deposits of material, 3 kilometers thick in some parts of Asia, as I say, showing that these massive volcanoes went off. And this probably was part of what changed the climate and made the world inhospitable to dinosaurs. And that's why we think these awesome feats of nature could have quite severe consequences for inhabitants on Earth. And whether we're actually capable of surviving that is an open question.